Hi everyone, this is Ella. Today we are continuing assembly drawings with practice problem 12.1. So in practice problem 12.1, you are required to draw freehand an assembly drawing of the wire rope grip. So previously in practice problem 11.1, we drew a detailed drawing of just the U-bolt. And for this problem, you're supposed to assemble the U-bolt together with the grip body and also the nuts below the grip body and U-bolt. So show the nuts, which is metric 6, in contact with the grip body and with 2 millimeters of the U-bolt protruding beyond the nuts. So this would be 2 millimeters. Dimension this distance to advise the assembler how far to screw the nuts on. And then you're required to complete the parts list and title block. The assembly will be easier to read with a full or half section. So in practice problem 11.1, we've drawn out the U-bolt, and you can take these dimensions, draw that out, and we're going to add the other parts in our assembly drawing. Okay, so here is the solution, and I've outlined with the color black the parts that we already have. And on this right side is the grip body. And now we're going to look on how to draw these nuts. So what we have to do is refer to the table. Here's table 10.3 with nuts with hexagonal features. And so what we have is a plain standard nut, metric 6. So that means the diameter is 6. So we're going to have to draw this view on our U-bolt. Over here we refer to the dimensions, and what we would need is M. So for plain nuts it's 0.8 times the diameter. And you can see that to draw the hexagonal face from the side, there's going to be a radius R1 for the middle curve, and a radius R2, which starts in the center of the side parts. This is R2. So R1 is 1 times the diameter, which means that it'll be 6 millimeters. R2 is 0.3 of the diameter, which will give you 1.8 millimeters. And we would need the length of this side view, which is corresponding to this part. This dimension is E, which is the diameter across the pointed edges. So E would be 1.8 times D. So that's 10.8 millimeters. So we're going to take all this information and start drawing the hexagonal nut on our assembly drawing. So to start drawing your hexagonal nut, so this bottom part is 10.8 millimeters, and then the thickness M is 4.8 millimeters, and you have a curve here. The radius is 6 millimeters, and over here R2 is 1.8 millimeters. So that's a rough guideline on how we got these hexagonal nut shapes. We have decided to make a half section since this entire assembly is actually symmetrical. So we have to do a section in order to show the U-bolt that passes through inside. And we hatch the parts that have been sectioned, and then draw the symmetrical line. And then the last part is to draw the thread coming out of the hexagonal nut. So we've been told that it extends by 2 millimeters outside of the nuts. So firstly we concentrate on the threads on the section side. Draw in a thin line the metric threads. So you've now drawn out the 2 millimeter extension out of the nuts. So now we have to label it. So we draw out the lines and dimension it as 2 millimeters. This is for the reference of the person using the drawing, so that they know how much to lock in the hexagonal nut. So then next thing, don't forget to draw out this center line for the U-bolt, as we have done in the detail drawing 11.3. Now what's left to do is label the parts with the balloons. They're 10 millimeters in diameter, and you can number them in a clockwise or anti-clockwise manner. And then you have to complete the parts list. So the parts list is as shown. The title is at the bottom, item, description, quantity, and material. And we number it from bottom to the top. So first is the U-bolt with a quantity of 1, and the material is AISI 1020. And number 2 is the grip body, which you need 1, and it is made of aluminium, while the nuts is, you write it down as nut metric 6 hex to denote the hexagonal shape, and you need 2 of these. These are to be purchased. So our scale is actually 2:1, and you have to put this in the notes. The dimension is in millimeters, and we have the title, wire rope grip, and don't forget to put the date. And that's practice problem 12.1.